Moving from animation and videos will add more complexity to this, and we'll do everything in cloud. And to help us get graphics on the cloud, we have a very strategic partner in VMware. I welcome Karanth from VMware to please come on the stage and talk about the partnership and how GPU-based virtual machines are helping designers, engineers, and animators to get the flexibility to work from any device, anywhere, anytime. Karanth, can we have you? Yeah.
Yes. Just waiting for the remote.
Here is the remote. Here is the remote. Come. Can we have the presentation from VMware, please?
Thanks, Sridhar. Thanks for the introduction. Myself, I'm Karanth. I look after the end user computing division of the pre-sales team in VMware. Slides, please. Yeah, right. No more good enough. Are we not resource caring? I mean, like OnePlus 3, right? 3T launched with a 6 GB RAM. How many of you want to use it, right? Right? We are always resource hungry. That's what I would put it across, right? We need we started off with 512 MB RAM with the Akash tablet coming into picture. We have seen all the way till a 6 GB mobile phone computing power that you have. What does VMware and NVIDIA got to do with this, right? I mean, as Raju did mention some of the graphics that they do on a physical desktop, how do you do it on a virtual desktop, right? I mean, the real-time experience that you get with the native physical desktop can be seamlessly transferred to be streamed from a virtual desktop as well. So, my session is crisp. I have about 19 slides together. Some of the things that I would cover as part of the session is virtual graphics for all, and what does VMware, NVIDIA got to do with it, and some of the case studies that our customers use, how extensively they use an NVIDIA grid card along with a virtual desktop. And any questions, yeah, we have a stall at a VMware stall. You can always stop by the stall and then ask any questions with us. Right, graphics accelerated digital workspace. I mean, we did coin a terminology called as digital workspace, which means help your employees or your customers to enable to work from anywhere on any app on any device, right? That's the simplicity that VMware is trying to bring across. So what we see here is one of the key things that we are looking for is an increased performance. Like the way currently I'm working on a physical desktop, I'm building up a MATLAB video or something of that kind. How do I do that on a virtual desktop, right? So how many of you are using a virtual desktop here? VMware or a vSphere? Perfect. I see a lot of folks who are using vSphere, right? On top of it, you have a virtual desktop, an ESXi layer, and then you have the virtual desktop layer on top of it. So this gives you the same performance that you see on a physical desktop can also be seen across your virtual desktop to be used by your end users. Not just that, what does it give? A mobility and flexibility, which means that I can access my virtual desktop from any device and from anywhere, right? Be it my iPad. It's the same simplified user experience with the user graphics that you look for. You can stream the same on any device. And improved productivity, which means you're allowing your employees to work from anywhere on any device. And a centralized management system. I was working with one of these crane manufacturing companies back in Bangalore, and they are designing cranes, right? I mean, the heavy lifting vehicles that they design, they're a graphic intensive operations unit, right? They want to design that, the designers, their MEC engineers want to do this. What are they using it for? Like say with VMware NVIDIA grid card, they're able to seamlessly do that on their virtual desktop, not on physical desktops, on their virtual desktops, right? That's what we give. And a centralized management. I mean, if somebody says, I need a patch X on my system, could you please be able to do that? The IT will have a tougher time of individually going to each of the systems, applying the patch and come back to the system. I mean, how many of you have issues with patch management systems, right? I mean, it's a challenge that any IT ops team will have and face on a day-to-day basis. And a simplified support system and the data security. I mean, the biggest worry for anybody to be using on a physical desktop is, Karan, what is the data leakage prevention policies that I can enforce on it, saying that the data that we do should not be going out of the office premises. That's what virtual desktop helps you do that. Right. So as we see here, what we are doing on physical desktop with the compute power that you have, your graphics card, you want to do a graphic intensive operation on your physical desktop, can be achieved on your virtual desktop as well. What we see here is, okay, I'm sorry. So all the graphics acceleration is all moved to the data center. You no longer require it on a physical machine or a physical desktop. Instead, it's all hosted in a single place and can be easily streamed to any of the thin clients which are trying to access those virtual desktops. That is what we are trying to achieve as part of our virtual desktop integration with NVIDIA grid cards. What do we get, right? The applications that are like, what we are looking for is, we live in an era of UX, right? I mean, how many of you saw the new UI of Uber, right? How it was earlier and how it has been optimized for the Indian needs. That is where we are all looking at, right? You need to have an enhanced user experience so that the end users will start acquainting it on a day-to-day basis. And what we are seeing is those graphic intensive operations that needs to be carried out, and over half of the enterprise users access at least one graphics accelerated app. Could be a CADIA, could be an Adobe, Photoshop, and so forth. And 50% majority of the enterprises will have started Win 10 deployments by 2017. I mean, the plan was to have 1 billion devices by 2017, but I think that's gone a bit further. What does VMware with NVIDIA help you achieve in your organization? One, 50% improvement in your workflow cycle time. And could be like, say, I want to assign a virtual desktop to the end user. I want to assign a graphic profile to the end user so that they can carry out any operations. Could be a CADIA user. Not just that, and the simplicity of collaborating work between users located in different locations, right? How easy that is. Like the collaboration, real-time collaboration can be seen. And a remote video training. I mean, instead of traveling from place to place, you can have a conference between the end users on their virtual desktop as well. Right. So the architecture more or less remains the same, like the way how you have deployed your vSphere. You have an on a bare metal, which is could be supported by your Hewlett-Packard or Dell or Lenovo. You run an ESXi host on top of it, and then you have the NVIDIA grid cards deployed on it to help you manage that. Like say, how many of you are aware of vCenter, right? You use it day in and day out to manage your VMs on your desktops. On the similar lines, we have NVIDIA vGPU Manager to help you manage what is the graphics profile that needs to be enforced onto the end user, like say an employee X or an employee Y. That is what NVIDIA vGPU Manager helps you do that. And you want to have an independence on what is a driver. Like say if I have a Tesla processor or a Maxwell processor, how do I ensure that the independence is removed? I mean, if I install one driver, I should be able to use any of the processors that is underlying. That is what your Quadro driver or the NVIDIA graphics driver help you achieve it. Isn't this working? Okay. This is the right one. Yeah, perfect. Yeah. So what I mentioned in my previous, this is a reference architecture as to how it looks. What you have is a test center GPUs. On top of it, you have your hardware, which could be of any of the vendors that you will see here, and the grid software to help you achieve any of your graphic intensive operations to be rendered. And some of the commonly used applications across the organizations could be my Microsoft Office, or could be my Autodesk, or my MATLAB, or any of those applications. So this works seamlessly the way you are seeing it on your virtual desktop or a vSphere. It's just that you have additional graphic intensive operations which is being achieved using your NVIDIA grid software. And various editions of NVIDIA grid editions that VMware supports is, the first one is the grid virtual application, which is more or less used for your RDSH. If you have a single application that needs to be deployed to your end users, that is when you use a grid application. And you have an NVIDIA grid virtual PC, which is more of a heavy task worker, which could be like, say, it needs an individual virtual desktop to every user. That is when you use an NVIDIA grid virtual PC. The last one is for the most extensive graphic operations to be carried out by an engineer or by a designer. That is when you use that edition of an NVIDIA grid virtual workstation. So what we see here is, at the bottom is the VMware Horizon desktop, which is nothing but a virtual desktop that is being streamed from your data center. With the Q1 2016, we were earlier supporting PC over IP, right? What we announced is something called as a Blast Extreme, right? To help you render high quality graphics on a virtual desktop. So you'll need a Blast Extreme to be having, like say, with a Horizon Client 4.2 on Windows, you should be able to have a seamless experience on any device. What I see here is my iPad, my iMac, and the Mac OS X book, right? It's the same unified experience that you get, like the way you were getting it on a physical desktop. How is this being able to achieve? That is because of the presence of a GPU, which is an NVIDIA GPU grid on the virtual data center on the data center, and then it is being streamed across to the devices, which can have just an H264 encoding mechanism. You not have to purchase a device which can decode or render those graphic contents. That's the simplicity that VMware along with NVIDIA is able to achieve to our customers as well here. So some of the key points that we discuss here is the enhanced battery life. Like say if somebody is trying to render a video content on their iPad, they would always be thinking, Karanth, how about my battery life on my device? How do I take care of those concerns? And these are some of the things that are taken care as part of our Blast Extreme protocol. And it supports end users with great performance even over a lossy network. That is what with our Blast Extreme protocol does. All right. Right. And we support every use case, right? Could be a physical desktop converting into a thin client, or could be a thin client, or could be a MacBooks or a Linux machine. You will be able to access your virtual desktops on any device, right? You get the same user experience. As I keep reiterating, it's the same unified experience that you get it on your physical desktop can be achieved on any of the devices that you see it here at the bottom, right? And could be with our Windows virtual desktop or an RDSH or an app publishing, we'll be able to achieve a Linux VDI or any of the sort based on the underlying support use case that we have here. What we support as part of our VMware offering with VDI and graphics is 70 plus new supported devices across various flavors, could be Android, your Windows, your iOS, and Raspberry client as well. GPU optimized, which is an important factor when you are on a cellular network when you're traveling, you want to access a graphic designer on your iPad and so forth. Faster access across the WAN, more insight and control for the IT administrators to see what is being accessed and what not, and up to 6x bandwidth reduction for a JPG or a PNG file when it is being streamed from a data center can be achieved. How does it do it? What we see here is more of an earlier protocol that we are following, which is a PC over IP, which is the traditional way of a virtual desktop being accessed from a virtual a data center, where the decoding was happening on the client side, which is the CPU which resides on your physical desktop. We used to decode at that point of time. With Blast Extreme, what we do here is everything, the decoding happens at the virtual desktop, which is using a virtual GPU which resides on the data center. Everything gets decoded and it gets seamlessly with zero buffer being rendered on any of your devices. Could be a thin client, could be my iPads and so forth. What has Blast Extreme Performance got to achieve it? It's a 35% increase in the user experience. It is the acquaintance, right? I mean, the traditional mindset of end users is to still continue with physical desktops. How do you ensure that they start moving to virtual desktop? We see an average increase of 34% in the user acquaintance. 140 milliseconds decrease in the latency, because the biggest concern that we have is the latency as to how you can stream from a data center that is located in some part of the world and I'm sitting in India. How do you ensure that the latency is taken care? And CPU offload on the host, which means the CPU, like the way we do an SSL offloading, you have a reverse proxy or a proxy which does an SSL offloading. the GPU takes care of the decoding of the graphics, and then it gets rendered onto your machines. Let's quickly run through a quick demo as to what we have spoken about with our Blast Extreme protocol. What I see here is I'm trying to access, let's play the video. You'll have to press the play button. Yeah, perfect. So I'm connecting as a VMware Blast protocol. I see a RDP or a PCO or IP, which is the traditional way of accessing your virtual desktops. I access using a VMware Blast Extreme protocol, what we discussed. You can now real-time experience as to how smooth it is. I'm trying to open an history video from a YouTube. You see the experience? Like these are all being rendered from a virtual desktop, on a virtual desktop from a data center located at a far-off place. So what I'm trying to say here is, it's the seamless experience that you're getting, like the way you're getting it on a physical desktop. Now what I see here is a graphic-intensive operation which is being done on an NVIDIA card, right? Could be a city planning model, right? A 3D or a 2D model. I can do that seamlessly on a virtual desktop. That's what VMware with NVIDIA gives you onto the table. I mean, gone are the days when you used to do it on a physical desktop, the simplicity that you do it with a virtual desktop. Not just that, I mean, could be my CAD program as well. I can go access, I can take a 360-degree look at it as to how it looks, right? Not just that, with our NVIDIA, look at the way an NVIDIA grid card that we have, where you can look at an human facial expression, right? It's a real-time experience. You could be thinking just like someone speaking on, I mean, a graphic is as if someone's speaking to you directly. Let's quickly run through an use case as to one of the customers who have spoken about.
And I'm the Director of Computer and Information Systems at SSOE. We're an engineering, procurement, and construction management firm. We have about 1,200 employees, 1,500 computer users, 29 offices, and we're in 7 countries around the world. One of SSOE's central business models is that we use global collaboration with our talent all around the world. So whether a person is in Mumbai, India, Shanghai, China, Toledo, Ohio, Brentwood, Tennessee, doesn't matter. If they're the one who can contribute the best solution to our client, to their project, we want them on the project. What that means is you've got people who are spread all over the place and you're trying to have them work on centralized design and centralized models. It's a real challenge because these models are very graphically intensive, a lot of data. So we have to find a solution that we can bring everyone together virtually, if not physically. And VMware Horizon View lets us achieve that. SSOE's partnership with Cisco has grown over the years. We've always used their networking equipment because frankly it's the best out there. I was personally delighted when Cisco got into the server environment because I knew they would deliver the same thing. For us it's a no-brainer to go with NVIDIA because it's fantastic hardware, that extreme dedication to performance, support. We don't worry about those things. It's actually an unsurprising partnership to see NVIDIA so close with VMware because they're thinking about the next great thing and making the impossible possible.
We're able to deploy a golden image, per se, of a virtual desktop to users in multiple locations. It's to solve the issue of having these large models where we need users in multiple geographic locations to work on these models collaboratively, but the models are too large to either shove across our WAN or to have users come across the WAN to get those. From the endpoint standpoint, through the use of Horizon View, can allow people to connect from a wide range of devices, anything from a full-blown workstation laptop down to Zero clients or tablets or even phones if needed.
When you have these big complex models, we've got projects that could have 70 or 80 of these models connected together. You've got to have responsiveness so that when a designer needs to zoom in on something or rotate something or move around different areas, you can't have huge delay or lag on the screen. It's frustrating for them, it's inefficient, it leads to all kinds of problems.
Users sometimes would have to wait 10 seconds, 20 seconds, maybe a minute just for the screen to refresh. Once we started using the VDI solution from VMware, we noticed almost as good as a desktop in that physical office. The 3D rendering on the desktop appeared almost as good as a desktop, if not as good in some cases, or exceeding them. The two major applications that we're using in VMware Horizon View are Revit, which is our main platform at SSOE in terms of 3D delivery of our facilities. The other application primarily use in terms of building or facility design is our MicroStation 3D products.
I'd absolutely recommend the Cisco, NVIDIA, VMware Horizon View solution to other companies who are using graphically intensive applications. It's the best of all possible worlds.
Right. Some of the key takeaways from this video is, from the use cases, one is the collaboration that I stressed upon. You could see people working in China, could be people working in Mumbai. I mean, this SOSV has an operation in Mumbai itself, right? They collaborate real time between their employees across the globe, where one works on a graphic operation or a task, and it will be continued from a different part of the world. The next one is a virtual desktop infrastructure. I mean, they could be using it from any of the clients that we saw here. Could be an iPhone, could be an iPad, or a Mac OS X book. It's the same unified experience that you get across here, right? With that, I come to the end of the session. Thanks very much. You can drop by VMware booth. We have a lucky draw at the evening. So please drop by, please fill in your details. Thank you very much.